This is the hardest decision that I've ever had to make, but it's one of the best decisions that I've had to make as well. To be in the position I'm in, to have had the career I've had, I can do nothing but smile on it. I've always did things my way, whether they've been good or they've been bad. I got here because I've done things the way that I feel is right for me and right for my family. I feel it's right to ask you guys to join me for one last dance, one last season. This is it. I've given the game everything that I have, and I am happy about that. And I am going to give it one last season. How's everybody doing? This is yours truly, Mr. Taliaferro, Alfred Taliaferro, whatever you want to call me. That was an excerpt from a 10-minute video from Dwyane Wade released on his YouTube account a little bit over a week ago, announcing that his 16th season will be his last season in the NBA, and how fitting as he signs a one-year veterans minimum deal with the team that drafted him, the team that it all started with, and the team that traded for him midway through last season, the Miami Heat. Wow, man. You know, watching that 10-minute video from Dwyane Wade, which I watched from second one to the end of it, you know, it chokes me up, you know, because I started to think about my own life, and I'm 24 now, I'm getting old. I was 8 when D-Wade got into the league. So to grow up with this man, him, LeBron, Melo, and others, and to see just how his legacy has been cemented forever. We've seen so many good moments. We've seen a lot of bad moments with D-Wade, you know, and a couple quick remarks about his career when I think D-Wade, right? So I think D-Wade as a guy who's kind of right in the middle. I look at Melo as the guy who maybe didn't meet his expectations. I look at D-Wade as a guy who overseeded the expectation that anyone could have ever placed on him. This guy didn't play at Marquette year one, right? He wasn't the top prospect like Melo and LeBron. And obviously we know LeBron has exceeded every expectation placed on him. But in regards to Melo and D-Wade and company, D-Wade kind of fits right in the center, right? He's the guy that won rings, probably had more left in the tank if not for injuries, but did enough to cement his legacy as, I would say, a top 3 shooting guard of all time. You know, when I think two moments that stand out to me in Dwyane Wade's career, the first moment, obviously the 2006 NBA Finals. Shaq was a year in with that Miami Heat team. He wanted a ring bad after leaving the Los Angeles Lakers with a bad taste in his mouth. That Miami Heat team was down 2-0, I believe, to that Dallas Mavericks team that was hot. Dirk was looking for a ring at the time, right? That was a Josh Howard team as well. I remember some of those guys on that map. They were really good. And Dwyane Wade hit him in the mouth. You know, winning 4 straight games, shooting a crap ton of free throws. A young D-Wade, what was he like in his 3rd or 4th season? He came into those games with the mentality of, I'm getting to the rim no matter what. You know I'm not shooting the 3 ball. You know I'm pretty much 20 feet on in, 18 feet on in. But you're not going to stop me. If I need to get to the rim, you're not going to stop me. At best, you have to foul me. Worst case, you're on your back as I complete a 3-point play. That was his mentality. Probably the most impressive finals 4-game stretch I've ever seen from a player. And after that moment, I had nothing but admiration and respect for D-Wade. I think after that moment, he kind of put himself in that realm of top shooting guards all time. Not to mention he did it year in and year out after that with the Miami Heat, battled through injuries, knee problems. Look, this was a guy, again, he was not like Melo or LeBron. He didn't go to Oak Hill. He didn't go to a top school in the country, right? He wasn't one of the top high schoolers. This guy wasn't highly recruited in college. This is a guy who just made the best of an opportunity and willed his way into that conversation of the greats. And he's going to stand. After you name Michael Jordan, after you name Kobe Bryant at that shooting guard position, D-Wade's name's got to come up, you know, and I get it. We got a lot of great shooting guards in our league, Klay Thompson's of the world. But for me right now at 3, you know, in respect to Ray Allen as well, I gotta put D Wade there at the totality of his career. And like when we thought D Wade might have been on the back end earlier than expected, the world is shocked in 2010 when this crazy decision comes out of nowhere, in which we see LeBron James and Chris Bosh join his Miami Heat team. And then we're finally able to see Dwyane Wade with a player in their prime, two of them in their prime, and have help. In that first year in Miami, we was able to see he was a very, very, very lethal and deadly D Wade. He was the clutch guy for that team for year one. So that whole 4-year ride was like memorable for me. I actually remember like the bad parts of that ride, like with LeBron and Chris Bosh, probably why LeBron left Miami, to be honest with you, because D Wade's body was breaking down. He did not have the body to continue this journey. We're comparing so many guys to LeBron, and D Wade gets compared to LeBron by default. He came into class with him. They're close friends. He gets compared to LeBron. That's really not fair to D Wade, because normally a player that was at that point in his career on that back end of that Miami, the last 2 years, I say, of that run, that 4-year stretch where they got to the finals every year, most players are done at that point. But we're looking at how great of shape LeBron was in, who's also a couple years younger than D Wade. We're looking at the shape that he's in, and we're trying to compare D Wade to LeBron, and he didn't have it. He just did not have it in his body. He linked up with Tim Grover, famous trainer, but D Wade's body was breaking down on him. It's been breaking down for quite some time, and though it has not been embarrassing to watch Dwyane Wade the last few years, I just say this: I'm happy that this brother is comfortable with his decision and retires from the game, so I don't get to have 9 to 12 years of bad D Wade and only a few years of phenomenal great D Wade. I'm happy he's ending it. Look, the Chicago Bull thing was the Cleveland Cavalier thing was even more it just didn't look right. The only thing that made it look partially right was LeBron being in Cleveland, right? And we've seen that before. But overall, it didn't feel right. It didn't look right. And the fact that he's finishing his journey in the Miami Heat uniform, wow, what a career. Going down as obviously the greatest player in the Heat organization. That's not even a close. Alonzo's a far second, right? Dwyane Wade is just one of those guys, great person. And I think we're going to see a lot of Dwyane Wade. Obviously, we know LeBron's going to be heavily involved in movies and production afterwards. I think Dwyane Wade at some point down the line finds his niche. I always thought it to be fashion. It looks like Russell Westbrook has kind of stepped into that fashion world and maybe setting up a little bit better life after basketball than D Wade is. But with his wife, Gabrielle Union, in the public domain like she is, I gotta believe D Wade's gonna either figure it out with like a fashion line, get involved in maybe a movie or two. I want to believe we have not seen the end of Dwyane Wade. Maybe even an analyst. I'm not mad if D Wade takes an analyst job. I don't know. Who knows what happened with TNT? Charles Barkley has been adamant about saying he's not gonna do this for the next decade. I don't know. Maybe one of those jobs open up. Kenny Smith has been looking at coaching positions. You mean to tell me D Wade wouldn't be an easy transition if Kenny Smith left? I'm just saying. I'm going to enjoy this last season of Dwyane Wade. I had the pleasure of watching him take over that one win that the Miami Heat had against the Philadelphia 76ers. And I had the pleasure of, thinking back and having like a quarter of old D Wade, right? A half of old D Wade. And hopefully we get a few of those moments with the Miami Heat. It looks like unless they're making a push for a top 2 or top 3 seed, they're going to give D Wade off the bench some big time minutes. If somebody goes down with an injury, he might could get some starter minutes. Maybe doesn't have to play every night, especially on the home games where he's going to have another game against a certain team, and he's going to have more games in that home building. So maybe he doesn't play every home game so he can play most of the road games. It's going to be a farewell tour. He wants to remain healthy, so they're probably going to skip him a couple nights. I want to say thank you, Dwyane Wade, for giving me so many moments, being such a part of my life. Congratulations on a historic career, a first ballot Hall of Fame career that has provided you 3 NBA championships and 3 of the most memorable NBA championships. 2 with LeBron beating Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and then beating a tough San Antonio Spurs team. We'll remember those forever, and we're going to obviously remember his 06 finals run. So he's got 3 memorable championships that we'll never forget. Thank you so much, Dwyane Wade, for the moments you've given the game of basketball, what you've given your body, everything that it's took from a commitment standpoint. And I look forward to watching your every dribble this season, as season 16 as your last in the National Basketball Association. Congrats, Dwyane Wade. Thank y'all so much for the time, love, and support. I don't take it for granted. Dwyane Wade announces his retirement from the NBA. He's going to give this thing, quote, one last dance. Quote, he's going to do it with the Miami Heat, the team that it started with. Year 16 for him is going to begin in a couple weeks. The Miami Heat look to get back to the playoffs. They were outed in the first round versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Hopefully, D-Wade can have a magical finish as he passes the torch to that Miami Heat roster.